Howdy. Who are you waiting at?
We're on air for our Kickstarter backers.
Well, hello!
Maybe it is for you. Do you want to try adding something? I'll see if I see it.
Hold on, I know how to make this better.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Top. Stealing your helmet.
You were not very well.
I can't drink though. Need a straw right to the middle. There's a design flaw. Yeah. That's a drink.
We can always put another one.
That's
At
not
least
gonna
we
work.
were.
I'm gonna delete it. Andrew was here. You know, already ruined that.
I was not thinking about the Saturday.
I'm ready to take you. Awesome. I don't know if we should wait a couple minutes to see if anyone else wants to join.
They usually come up a little late.
So, are those folks live right now?
That
So
whole,
there's only one person on.
that's our supper.
I was thinking it should be
James.
this year. Just like
Oh, that's James?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, apps and R&D will be two separate ones.
This is Ernie. He is our ops overlord. Really,
I'm turning.
Hey,
ops man.
How's it going?
And Todd. He does our
Good.
sales.
The
And
Todd.
Matthew. We can't see them. We have a webcam.
We can show. El Matt and La Samantha. Matt is
Hello, Texas.
Yeah.
still have some dust on.
It's being recorded. I'm trying to attempt this. You can have it over here. Here we go. Well, you can't really see the box though.
The backers. Taking notes.
Awesome. Well, I'll just start talking. And anybody who can join or wants to ask questions, I have the community page open. We're trying to do this better every single time we do a Hangout. So this month was really great for us. Last month we showed you progress on printing with the Alpha Bot, the OpenGB Alpha Bot. Let me see actually if I can bring the camera over here. So you can kind of see it. That's the Alpha Bot. It's the mule in the corner. And we finalized the hood this Friday, and we will be getting that going. We actually have 5 units built up in the hallway right now. We ran out of space here. We have 11 3D printers currently in our Houston office, and we're like pretty much running out of room. But what's really exciting is that we have all of the parts on the shelf, minus just a couple that we still have to source. And now that we have the hood finalized, we are trying out ways to enclose the heat fighter, and we're also just trying to reduce the amount of fishing that we have to do. Hey Robert, hey Sean, thanks for joining. Hey Mom. Hi guys. Taking care of your eye.
Good about yourself.
Good. Hi Sean. Yeah.
Like a picture that you can see Dad's color on.
Yeah. Let me just get you guys a better view over here, because I can't move it out of the corner that it's in, because we have all these electrical boxes going on. But that is the latest configuration of the frame. And we have 5 built up in the hallway. And I wish I could bring it over to show you, so I think I'm going to turn my computer on for Hangout as well. Or maybe if you could bring it up on your computer. Do I just pull it over? Yeah, yeah. So Samantha's going to bring over one of the printers that has been constructed. And we have, they're all in work right now. The 5th one was being put together today. And so we're actually getting ahead on where we thought we were going to be with assembling these. We have one person that's been focusing on this in the office, and another guy who's doing our electrical boxes, and so they're getting to know the systems really well. And yeah. Thanks, Samantha. And so we counted it up today, and there's 20 3D printed parts on this machine. Robert, I don't know if you counted up more than that, but there's probably like 20 custom machined parts that we do in-house, and then there's 20 custom 3D printed parts on this machine itself. But that doesn't even count for all the sets that are involved in each 3D printed part. And so, because this is like a new R&D project for us, we were just talking today about how we're going to integrate it into like an open ERP system that we have that we've been optimizing. And so here are all the OpenGB units. Thanks, Samantha. And it's just really exciting to see. Today was a big day for Re3D. We had the Houston Chamber of Commerce come in, and they nominated today the Re3D Day in League City. They proclaimed it. It was a proclamation. Yeah. And Samantha cut the ribbon with these huge pair of scissors, so that was exciting. Where's your certificate? Yes, official. Proof.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, they're really nice frame, and it's a good height, and everything feels really sturdy about this machine, and so it's cool to see more than just the office feel. A lot has happened this month, and we're starting to really get down the full process of assembly, and we're hoping to get like the last little bit of the designs finalized. Robert, since you just joined, would you mind just talking about some of the finalizations from this month that have been in work on CAD?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Do I go?
We can mute ourselves until.
Think it's good. Okay, cool. Yeah. So what we've been working on is we've basically just been wrapping up small parts of the CAD, getting some of the tablet holders and stuff. We just got that finalized, almost finalized. We were getting everything set up. We realized since everything's enclosed, we need to have everything printed in ABS. So we've been working on G-code and everything for all the different printed parts. Wanted to make sure that we had. Yeah, we did a full sheet that has full images of all the 3D printed parts. We're making factory files so everything can be edited. Gosh, long day. And we've just been kind of getting the CAD to where we're in a comfortable spot to release it for everyone. So when you do get the CAD, when we do release a full open version of the CAD, it will be a fully complete version of the bot that will be completely representative of what you're going to be receiving.
Yeah, that's great. And then Samantha and I just went to LA to do a bunch of customer visits, and we saw 7 or 8 customers while we were in LA. We learned all about their manufacturing process. It was really insightful for us to see. But one of the biggest things that we took away from going out was we got to visit the guy who makes the electronics boards for our current Gigawatt and for the Open Gigawatt unit. And one of the big topics that we discussed last month was we were at this turning point where we had to decide whether we were going to put an Aztec X3 Pro into the Open Gigawatt units, or if we were going to continue development on the board that we had spec'd out. And after looking at the comparison between the two and really the amount of testing that was going to have to be put in, we decided to double down on testing with the Aztec X3 Pro and to continue optimizing the firmware for it. But when we got to visit Roy, who makes these boards in LA, we got to know more about his R&D process, and we also learned more about how he is an open source manufacturer. So it still fits into the ethos of Open Gigawatt, and it's really exciting for us to grow a relationship with him. and just to learn more about how to work with him better and how our companies might grow together in 3D printing in the future. He's a really nice guy. He's running like a small shop himself. He works with 2 factories and gets them tested outside. And, he has a strong heart for R&D. Is there anything that you wanted to say about that visit that you noticed or anything? Yeah. He just told us about some exciting things that he's focusing on, and one of the things that Matthew's really excited about is a more industrial version of the printer in the future, and going more in that direction, but still thinking about all of our users as a general base, and hearing some of what Roy is strongly interested in or what he's starting to do research on. It's just a better fit to continue to work with him. To figure out how we're going to port over some of our observations from OpenGB. Yeah. So I don't know, Sean, I know you just joined, and I was curious, did you have any questions, or do you want to see any of the units up close? So you'll be the first one to be getting the OpenGB.
So your comment about the controller board, where does that put us then as far as progress towards having a shippable unit?
Oh, so we have 2 boards in-house right now. We just placed an order for the others, for the rest of the machines. And so we have the board in-house, and we've gotten testing on it and everything. It's actually, I should have shown the box. So Tom, our electrician, and the guy who heads all of that up at ReefDB, he has been owning this box design down here. Thanks, Matthew. And you can kind of see it. Sorry, we're a little bit scrunched for space here, but so Tom has rotated the Gigabot box to its side and has run Panduit on top for the cables. The grommets come out the same edge, so we actually just kind of use the same box. It's going to use the same cooling system, and there's a rail that supports the weight of that box, and it's inside of the frame down there. On the other OpenGB unit, we had it in the center, but this is off to the side. Thank you. And beep. And there's the all the wires put into the actual machine. So he just counted up all of the lengths and all the quantities for all of the parts that are in this machine. And this is the constructed, like, first real unit. And we were just talking tonight. This is the first unit that has all the right measurements and everything. So there it is. But the box is in there, and it has the Aztec X3 Pro inside. And so it's all being wired up.
Sean, I'm making you a red hot chili pepper.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, you're gonna put the eyeballs on it. Hold on here. I'm gonna Katie's the drawer. There. Oh, shoot.
What do you think, Sean? Do you think you'll be able to fit it?
It's got a chili pepper with glasses and a smile.
Oh my gosh, that's
But
wonderful.
Sean's not.
Isn't it beautiful? You should see how many machines we have in here right now.
It looks pretty full in there.
It's very full right now. So Matthew just got back from Cancun visiting a customer today. And then we have a unit running in the corner, and then another 2. There's one inside of Terabot back there. And another one that's built, and then there's an OpenGB, and then an OpenGB, OpenGB. And then this is a cardboard enclosed bot that's being printing out ABS parts. It's called Gigabox. These are 3D printed parts to hold the cardboard on as a hack. And there's a little flap in the front where you can go in and check out what the print progress that's keeping it all heated.
One of the feedbacks we got from our customer visit is that some of the customers, you guys will have an enclosed bot, but they'd also like us to open source the brackets for the Gigabox so that if you wanted to add cardboard or to create an attachment like that, you could. So that's something we'll be looking at too. But fortunately, your bot is enclosed.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. And the hood is like a completely separate unit on that machine. So you'll be able to take it off if you want to modify anything or make your own cardboard version.
I'm really good at making things out of cardboard.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're really excited to show you the progress. Like, it's been heads down. Everyone's been putting in the midnight oil to build these up. And just tonight we're talking about getting everything in order to bring a unit to South by Southwest so we can demo it and show it, because we actually launched our project at South by Southwest last year. So this would be a nice way to bring it back to the same people and see if anyone remembers it or what people's thoughts are. We always get a lot of good conversations out of showing the product in person.
Yes.
And so that gives us another good deadline, and we'll be shipping shortly after. So that's where we're at with things, and we've just been actually this month was really busy because while everyone in Houston has been focusing on keeping up with the sub-assemblies and putting things together and figuring out how everything is constructed, we were out on customer visits, and we were collecting stories about what people are doing with Gigabot. So it's been a very busy month, but we are working diligently to get these out to you guys. Yeah, so what else can I go over? There's so many little things. The bomb. So the bomb is going to be broken down into 9 parts, and each of those parts will include custom machine parts, 3D printed parts, hardware, and extrusion if it applies, and I guess like electronics or any other miscellaneous things. And so we're gonna like put all of those into those groups, and those groups will apply to the Weaveover. But what we've really been waiting until we put on everything on the Weaveover is to have different parts of those different sub-assemblies completed. So once a sub-assembly is finalized, then we will feel comfortable putting that finalization of that online to share. But it's just been a lot of optimization over the past couple months, and so now that we're actually putting them together, the superstructure is like the one thing that we definitely know more about, and we're really confident in. And it's actually really helpful for us to have this packet of information all about what we do to 3D print the parts, because we make them at ABS, and a lot of them have a thicker percentage of infill, or some of them actually, a lot of them have 30% infill, which is like more than what we usually use, like it's a higher density. But there are a couple that even require more than that. So we're just trying to keep all this documentation in order so that the project has that legacy to it. We're playing around with how the filament will carry from the rollers up to the head to make sure that material doesn't crimp. And just today, our new junior engineer printed out with this carbon fiber PLA composite material in OpenGB. And so we're using it just like any other regular bot in the office. It uses a different firmware because of the board, but we're using it just like any other machine. And so that's actually pretty effective. And James, I posted a video this week, or maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, where James printed his first print using the software in Australia. And so that was really, really cool to see. It was a 20mm cube, everyone's first 3D print for some of us. And he has been testing out different things in the back end. And so just on Monday, we really went full force on testing some things out and trying to break some of the software and figure out what we need to optimize. So that's what we've also been really heads down on now that the BOM and all of the physical stuff is being kind of tackled as more of a procedural. But yeah, James, you want to talk about, if you're still there, you just touch on what it was like when you first got it to print the cube and what that process was like?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so basically the code that I inherited had made some assumptions about the way printing would work, and obviously it's critical to get all of that working, efficiently and not losing steps, etc., etc. So I kind of had to rethink that a bit, and yeah, once I kind of sussed it and it was printing reliably, that was really good. There's this really interesting paradigm where we have Marlin, which has its own buffer and it deals with its own buffer in a certain way, and then we have our process running around and the way it buffers things in certain situations, and it has to deal with it in some way. So yeah, a few tricky little problems to solve. So when it made a clean little print, it was quite a nice moment. So yeah, it's good that that's working nicely and reliably, and yeah, that's obviously our sort of core functionality sorted, which is a big hump to be over. So yeah, so that's good.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then Matthew, I think I mentioned this, Matthew finalized our hood design on Friday, and we were just looking at the living hinge, the plastic hinge. I think that either you, Sean, or I think Sean or Mike Stewart had brought up using a plastic hinge on the doors, and so we have a sample of that, and we just put it together tonight, just with some scrap. And so we're looking at that as well. And Matthew thinks it's a way we could insulate the heat, and we're not sure how the temperature of the inside of the box will affect that hinge, but it's something that we can at least look at. But we want to get that wrapped up as soon as possible, just because we're really excited to have the finished product in your guys' hands. But little things like the hinge are fit and finish things that we're still trying to determine what would be the best solution. Yeah. Is there anything you guys think that I missed as far as the major updates go?
What's coming in next? What's the timeline schedule look like?
So what's coming up next is that we have determined all the sets of parts that we need to print for the rest of the assemblies. It takes about 20 hours to construct each of the bots. We have 5 put together now. We're running out of space here, so we're going to wait until we start shipping the units to start building the next ones. But we're ahead on our assembly schedule actually. So everyone's been really awesome and diligent about that. So in the next 2 weeks, what we're focusing on heads down is the testing of the software and optimizing some of the things that are coming up as we really hook it up to a printer and get feedback on that. But what we're hoping by the middle to the end of March is that we should be getting, Sean, you should be knowing in a short amount of time when you'd be getting your machine. And so what we're really focusing on then is we're going to have that unit that we just showed you running, and we probably need about a week of printing on it to make sure that it's working, but that we want to have a period of about 2 weeks to test the software out on its own and just make sure that that's cooperating and that's working the way we want it to. So it's going to be another really big month, but we're really excited about it, and it's coming together really nicely now. And what's cool is that now that we have our hood assembled, we can execute on knowing what we're going to order for the polycarbonate on the machine. Another thing is that now that we've used a little bit of time on OpenGB with linear rails, Matthew has even found other options for linear rails that he thinks that we would want to test with in the future. So even though we tried out linear rails on these machines, there are so many other products out there that this opens the gateway to, and the quality of the machines is just going to just get better and better. So we're really excited about that too. But yeah, we will Samantha will be sending out a newsletter for review this Friday, or next Friday, Tuesday, on Tuesday. And on our newsletters, if you guys aren't on them, we also noticed that we want to make sure that everyone gets on those. We share events that we're going to, so we'll probably be shouting out some things about South by Southwest, and we'll be posting tips of the month, and we'll be posting pictures of what some of the other customers are doing. But March is kind of our big month as far as Kickstarter and South by Southwest goes, because that's a local event to us. We're testing lots of materials and printing all the time. So yeah. So look out for that, and I'll make sure everyone's on that. I don't think that there are any questions that have come through on my end, but if anyone else wants to talk about anything, we have a lot of time, so. Any other updates? Yes, no?
Yeah, I don't know any other specific questions. Curious to see where things are.
So, what have you been looking at lately? Because you actually back a couple different campaigns. You're pretty fluent in what's popular right now. What kind of things have been popping up in your feed? 3D printing, Sean?
Really, the main thing I saw was just that one on the printhead that I sent you and asked about.
So actually, what's interesting about that is our manufacturing, our manufacturing procurement manager, Steve, tonight just showed me an extruder head that he had custom machined. And so we're looking at improving those and doing those more with local manufacturers rather than going outside of the U.S. Because right now we're using the E3D hot ends, but we're looking at ways that we can bring that into our pipeline. So yeah, that was really cool. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Of course. Try and share whatever I do learn. Like I said, still have a lot to learn. So.
Are there any updates on the Tico printer?
Yeah, they're kind of in about the same spot as you from the sound of it. They've got units that they're assembling currently. I think something like the first 100 they're getting ready to ship or something like that within the next month. So.
That's awesome.
Sean, when we post things on Facebook and social media, what do you like to see the most to engage with? Like, what's the most useful to you or interesting?
Well,
Really good questions there.
it's kind of a wide open field of interest for me, I guess, at this point. But you know, as we get closer to the ship date, I guess more information on you know what I'm going to need to use as far as software to actually do printing and so on is probably the next thing for me to start looking at. I mean, I've been looking at all kinds of models and things that would sound like things that'd be fun to start test printing, but
Yeah, that's great. Are there any exciting things happening at makerspaces or places around you where you live?
I'm not really all that close to anyone. The closest one I found so far, well, there's kind of a group over in Kelowna, but they don't seem to really be doing anything that at least not that I've found, that's around 3D printing. So the closest group that I found actually was that guy who's one of your customers down in the Tri-Cities area, which is like, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours from me. So
Yeah.
that's one of the difficulties with being isolated is yeah.
Well, you just have to get to know the other customers. There's one on Instagram that's been pretty cool in the last week. She got her Gigabyte a couple weeks ago, and she's using it for a big like light installation show. She's making these diffusers, and then she's like integrating them with sound and percussion.
Is that the lady or the company that's doing the ceramic stuff, or is that someone else?
That's Pax Modern. They're cool too. Kind of similar, but she's projecting light through the prints, and they're.
Oh, she did something with the football. Thing.
That was Marcus Vogel. Yeah, he was cool too. The time lapse. It was like art and science and data. I'll go ahead and share one of her Instagram pictures on Facebook so you can follow her. I don't know if you have access to Instagram, but I've been blown away by some of the prints she's doing. And she's really, like you, she's super responsive. Like, if I comment, she'll comment back right away. She's, like, really dynamic.
Sounds cool.
Yeah,
I'll look for that.
you guys would probably, she'd probably be a great one for, like, sharing insights. So she's doing, like, a lot of the parameter prints with different geometries.
Right.
She probably would be a good resource for you. She'll be a couple months ahead of you in the learning curve.
Well, everyone is just heads down here tonight. But we are so thankful for your guys' time. And as always, just use us as a resource on Google Communities. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about the Kickstarter. And I'm always willing to talk to you guys one-on-one or post updates that you're looking to see. I'll be posting one about the PCB very shortly. Just so you guys have more information on that, and then also one on ship dates and where we're at in our process and what the next 2 weeks look like. So let me know if there's anything else that you'd like to hear about. And we will also post another update about the next Hangout, and it will probably be pretty much a month from now, or maybe a week later, just because of the South by Southwest activities.
Right, right.
But we will definitely have one in March, and that'll be really exciting. So we're on the time that you should be expecting it, Sean.
Sounds interesting.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining, and I hope you have a good night.
Have a good night.